It's July 19, 2025, about 10 to 12. We got an early start today, and we're out in the great harbor of Mount Desert Island for the second sail of the year. And this time, my wife is accompanying me. So it's not a single-handed sail. And the wind is south, so we're headed more or less over toward the Cranberries again. It's nice and cool out here. It was a scorching 73 at the marina, so it's much nicer out here. The forecast called for it to be in the 60s out here. So we'll just sail across, doing 4.2 knots right now. Leisurely sail. Wind is supposed to get up into the 8 to 10 knot range later this afternoon, but we'll probably be in by then and head out. So, and I'll just show you what it looks like. That's the Elizabeth T, which is what they call a head boat or a day charter boat. You can pay about 60 bucks and go out for a couple-hour cruise of the area here on that one. Over there in the distance is Bear Island Lighthouse and the hills of Mount Desert Island. So it's a much clearer day than the last time, and there are more power boats out this morning, so that means there are more, if you will, wakes, and the wind just shifted on us a little bit. So that's Great Cranberry Island, and we're basically going to sail over to Islesford Harbor again, because that's kind of where the wind wants us to go. And a little more wind than the other day when I was out. And, we have hit 5.8 knots, but that was right after we set sail in Southwest Harbor. That's looking south, out the western way. Okay. And looking over toward the eastern way between Sutton Island over there and Mount Desert Island. Now we're sailing into Islesford Harbor on Little Cranberry right now. This is the view looking over toward the main part of Mount Desert Island. Very nice view from out here. I'm looking back west. And there is Little Cranberry Island over there. And over there is a little gap between Little Cranberry Island on the left and Great Cranberry on the right. That gap is called the Gut, and you can go through there at high tide if you keep your eye on your navigation system. There are some rocks to worry about. At low tide, not a good idea. The lobster boats go through there all the time, but they know the area very well. I have never seen a pleasure boat go through there. It looks pretty nasty on the charts. Probably not as bad as it looks, but it's not worth it. It's low tide right now, so I wouldn't even think about it. And more of Great Cranberry Island. Here we are coming into Islesford Harbor. The sailboat ahead is probably on one of the free town moorings. And a couple of other boats here. Another smaller sailboat. I think that one is usually here, the one with the blue sail cover. And then the lobster boats. So we're going to come up here and tack. Well, that was an easy tack. We got the electric winches turned on this time, so it was just a push button tack, so to speak. My wife cast off, and I pulled in the main slack and then pushed the button. And there's the Genoa sheeted in as we're sailing back toward Southwest Harbor, sailing west, more or less. And we hit at least 6.2 knots on the way over. And it's a little overcast. It's much cooler here than it is back on MDI, which is nice. So one of the things that we like to do when it's hot is come out on the boat, because as soon as you get away from the land a little, it cools off a lot. And that's great cranberry close in over there. And I need to turn a little so that I'm not gonna be inside the end of the ledge up here. There's some nice cottages on great cranberry. The really fancy ones though are on little cranberry. The one big difference between sailing out here and motoring is, of course, it's much quieter to sail. We don't have any engine noise, and our fuel consumption is lower. We haven't gotten a charge from Mother Nature yet for the wind, although the sails do add up. You're looking at $2,000 right there for that Genoa. So, and they don't last forever. This is the second year for that one, and we had the other one from 2006 through 2023, so what, 17 years. It was a little cheaper because things were cheaper in 2006, but I think it was $1,400. So yeah, $100 a year roughly for the Genoa. A full set of sails for this boat, for the kind I have, which is a Raleigh Tasker, probably would run, oh, close to $5,000, which would buy you right now over 1,000 gallons of diesel fuel, which for most power boats would give you maybe, depending on how fast you went, anywhere from about 2 to 10,000 miles of motoring. Okay, we're sailing past Great Cranberry Harbor now. Yeah, not too many boats over there yet. Great Cranberry and Little Cranberry both have year-round populations, but between the two of them, they have under 100 people. And in the summer, the populations of both islands go up dramatically as the people who have summer cottages show up. Great Cranberry is a nice island to walk around on. It has some nice hiking trails. And there's a cafe in the middle of the island that's not fancy, but you can get a sandwich or whatever there. And there's a trail from that cafe that goes out to one of the beaches. It's quite a pleasant little trail. And in my experience, Great Cranberry is a lot less buggy than Little Cranberry. Well, it looks like the Northeast Harbor Fleet is headed out for a race. This is an International One design. Out for the racing crew. Probably some more coming out. And over here we got a big black boat with black masts. Some sort of British or British colony flag. Too far away to tell what. And a few other sailboats out. Not many, but a few. And we've not been out very long so far, just not much over an hour. So stay out for a little longer, do a little bit more sailing. Because it's nice and cool out here with a nice breeze. Alright, we tacked around just outside Southwest Harbor after sailing back west, and we're back over between the Cranberries and Sutton. This is the south side of Sutton Island here. You can see some of the summer cottages. And these are all summer cottages. They range from quite modest ones to you know, a little less modest. This side of the island has the sort of smaller places on it. The other side has some pretty grand summer cottages. The other side is much rockier with sort of 30-foot cliffs, if you will. And we're going to sail out past the end of Sutton and then tack around out there, and then I think we'll head back. I'm still dealing with an issue of back pain. Well, this is the east end of Sutton Island over here, and you can see some stuff on the shore in the distance. That's Seal Harbor, and all the houses up on the hill over there are multi-million-dollar summer cottages. And we're going to sail just past the east end of Sutton, and then we'll tack, and I think we're going to call it a day. I'm not going to push it too hard today. We came out fairly early, and we'll just take it easy, light air sail, and enjoy the cooler temperatures in the morning. We could sail back on the other side of Sutton Island, but with the south wind, there will not be a lot of wind over there, and it will be hot because the island will warm the wind up as it goes over the island. So, you know, if it's 68 degrees here, it could easily be 75 or warmer on the other side of Sutton. So we're just about past the end of it. And over here is a little Cranberry, and you can see some of the bigger summer cottages on Little Cranberry. There are some pretty good sized ones there, you know. Just barely have room for the family in your 20-bedroom cottage. And there's a big sailboat anchored over there, just past a rocky promontory. There's a sort of horseshoe-shaped beach over there. I don't know what boat it is, but it's a pretty good sized one. Anchored in the lee of Little Cranberry. And in the distance, you can't see it, is Nova Scotia. And straight ahead is the Schoodic Peninsula. As we look a little more at Seal Harbor and the east end of Sutton Island. So we're going to tack around and head back. There goes a boat going the other way. It's a Hinkley. Not sure what kind of Hinkley. We'll see in a second. It's a Hinkley 41 competition. And we're sailing back west, almost due west right now, toward Mount Desert Island, back past Sutton. There's a lobster boat heading in, and some more of the cottages on the north side of Little Cranberry. And here's somebody else headed out. They got a reef into Maine. Now, I'm not sure what that is. It looks like it might be a Morris. It's kind of hard to tell. But there are a lot of other options that look like that. Now, here's a nice classic motor yacht that spends the summer here every year. I like the style. I don't know what it is. I don't know the name of it. But it hangs on that mooring every summer. I suspect it belongs to the people who own that cottage. So, yeah, nice boat. Looks like it's capable of dealing with a little bit of chop. And a much more Maine motor yacht. Again, I don't know what that one is. It's a lobster yacht of some sort. Quite pretty, teak cabin house. Very nice looking boat. Probably belongs to the people with one of those two cottages. Okay, we're much closer to shore now here on the south side of Sutton, headed west. You can get a better look at some of the cottages. And you can also see the tidal range. You can see where the seaweed is at the high tide range. We're about an hour after low right now. And I think today's tidal range is probably about 10 to 11 feet. Extreme tidal range here is about 15 feet. And at the low end, it's down around 8. And right here, we have 29 feet of water. But you don't want to go in too much closer. You can see the rocks. Anything black looking is submerged at high tide. And this little harbor here is where the Cranberry Isles town dock for Sutton is. I'm not sure which one is the town dock, but it's in there. You gotta be careful going in there. There's a day mark and then another day mark. You got about 100-foot gap you can cut through, and then you got more rocks. And there's a modern looking sailboat on a mooring over there. And a boathouse up on the rocks. You can see where their dock used to be, but it's gone now. The granite piles that the dock sat on are still there, but the dock itself is gone. And another summer cottage set back a ways. Over here we have the Northeast Harbor Fleet maneuvering for the start of a race. They'll probably have half a dozen races today, short ones, and those are all International 1 designs, which are 31 feet, and there's a whole fleet of them here. They were brought over in the 30s from Europe to create a 1 design racing fleet, and they're still here almost 90 years later. All wooden boats, and there's quite a little industry to maintain them and keep them in racing trim. And they have very strict class rules. They can't really change anything. So I can see some marks over there, and I can see their committee boat, so somewhere over there will be their start line. And it looks like it'll be a while before they start, so we should be out of their way before they start. It's kind of a nuisance to have to sail through their fleet. Well, we're back on the dock. It's a little blowy getting in here, but we managed. We went 11.6 miles and hit a peak speed of 6.4 knots, which isn't bad for a moderate air sail. More than I expected. My wife told me we heeled 20 degrees at one point, but it wasn't a big deal. So we're tied up, boat's put to bed. Just time for the after sail snack, and we'll head home for the day. Hope you enjoyed the second sail of 2025 aboard Sequester, our Allied Princess 36. Thanks for coming along.